Good afternoon from New Zealand and late evening for everyone in Florida and America who watch my YouTube lives. This one here's a local one. That's why I started off saying good afternoon. I'm running 18 minutes late, but the amount of intel I was getting before I started, I had to keep gathering it. So we've got quite an interesting action-packed show for you today. So stay tuned if you're interested in knowing more about an opportunity called SFCVIBE. Now, it's not the first time we've had a Vibe opportunity on my desk. We actually used to have one called VYB Vibe. Well, let's not go down that track. I diverse. But this opportunity has been a real roller coaster. Now, I saw the warnings coming out in the local newspapers, and I didn't realize what it was, didn't realize it was something to do with a scam or a pyramid scheme or a Ponzi scheme. So then I've just, in the last 7 days, caught up with everything that has been happening. And now I must say I am a walking encyclopedia. I know more about this company than most people who have actually invested. So it would be true to say that this one's been a real roller coaster. And today's show is going to be an eye-opener for those people who have potentially invested or even recruiting people to invest in this opportunity. What started as an online investigation has now taken me inside real-world recruitment events. So I've literally been face-to-face in a meeting where I got chased out of the building. Sitting in the room, watching how it's been sold and seeing firsthand how people are being pulled into this. This isn't just a poorly designed website anymore. This is boots on the ground, community level expansion happening right here in New Zealand and even my hometown, Christchurch. At its core, the pitch is very simple. What you do is you watch short videos, rate them, and get paid. But the reality is actually very different. Now, I'm just going to talk about the wee videos. Everyone might be wondering, how come all the videos are exactly 10 seconds long each? Well, that's the limitation of AI, which I do believe they're creating these adverts with AI. I can't help myself. I'm going to go off script a little bit. I do a bit of advertising online because I do drop shipping for a living. That's how I support myself, because I don't actually get enough money via YouTube to merit the time I spend at investigating these scams. But the reason I'm talking about that is if I want to put an advert on the internet, I don't need to get independent people who don't even understand my brand or my why or what I'm trying to advertise to rate my commercials. In fact, what I do is I normally upload 3 different adverts into like Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, and I let the stats determine what one ranks the best, and then I drop the other 2 adverts. So the fact that this opportunity is saying that there's a company out there like Walt Disney, yes, I did say Walt Disney, or Sony, or Universal, what do they call it? Universal Films, have formed an alliance with a real shady pyramid-like modeled opportunity and wants them to outsource rating their videos. Now, if you are clicking on these adverts, use a bit of human logic. What is the advert actually advertising? And can you find the product or the service or the person that the advert is actually displaying for? Or is it just generated AI Google to make you think you're doing something for your money? I diverse. This is the silliest thing ever. You're getting paid up to, well, there's different levels, but one of the levels I looked at is going to cost you $1,200 to purchase yourself a job. And then they're going to pay you $40 per day if you basically rate 5 videos. Since when do you purchase yourself a job? So you have to purchase your job first. You deposit money to unlock earning tiers. And the more you put in, the more you are told you're going to earn. There must be a new employment agency out there that I haven't heard of. That's the hook. And that's where the risk begins. What we're now seeing is the model spreading rapidly through communities. In particular, the one that I visited on Sunday, the 19th of April 2026, in case you're watching this historically, at 463 Colombo Street. It's spreading particularly within the Tongan community, where trust, relationships, and word of mouth are being used to grow at speed. Such a lovely community of people, and I must say I met some really nice individuals at the event. But unfortunately, there was a crew of snake oil salesmen interwound throughout that community, pushing people to invest. And I'll go off script again because one of the saddest things I saw at that event was some guy stood up at the front of the stage and told people that he doesn't have any money, and he believed that this opportunity was true and genuine. And he basically put a whole lot of money into the platform and now has lost the lot and nobody will help him. So what do you think happened? The lady who was organizing the event pushed him out the door, told him to leave, and I went after him and I couldn't find him, unfortunately. That was pretty hard to watch. Now, if you are that individual or you have invested in this company locally from New Zealand abroad, wherever, I want to hear from you because that was a very sad story and I am concerned about his welfare. At the same time, they were not operating quietly. They are actively trying to build credibility. So today I rang up somebody I know who owns a major newspaper here in New Zealand. And I rang him up and said, "Hi, it's Danny. You're promoting a scam." And I'm going to show you that in a minute. But what I uncovered this morning was sponsored content in local newspapers, representing themselves as a global compliant platform, claiming social responsibility, denying quick profit acquisitions, and positioning account restrictions as routine compliant checks. So we've got people out there claiming they can't get their money off their platform and the money's locked in and it's frozen. But now they've even put advertising out there to claim that the account restrictions that people are complaining about is routine compliant checks. Now, this company that we're talking about has actually been investigated, is getting investigated by the Commerce Commission in New Zealand. And I have actively sent proof, videos, and the whole 9 yards to them, as well as the FMA. Now, if you want to stick with me and you're sitting here and you're a doubting Thomas, I'm going to show you the direct correspondence that I had with Hillary, the lady who runs the FMA in New Zealand. On the surface, when you look at these adverts, it reads like legitimacy. But when you line it up against the actual structure, deposits, recruitment, withdrawal issues, and multiple companies being set up across New Zealand, it's a very different picture. A very different picture starts to emerge. So they've currently set up 5 independent companies in New Zealand, which I don't know any corporate like Coca-Cola or Apple, when they have people working in those divisions that get to set up their own independent companies. But that's what they've done here in New Zealand. They've got 5 different companies, which is absolutely ridiculous. Hello, David. Hello, Magic. Hello, Susie. And hello, Magic again. Nice to see you guys here in the chat room, which I'll bring up in a second. What the heck? Let's bring up the chat room now. Let's see what people are saying. Please do give us your words or go over my face, but there you go. The chat room's now visible for everyone to see. Right, so as I said, they've set up 5 companies in New Zealand, multiple individuals fronting the operation locally, links pointing back to someone much bigger overseas, which we're also going to have a look at today. Now, interestingly enough, I've actually found 3 phone numbers associated with the 5 companies that I've found that are registered in New Zealand, and I'm actually going to make those phone numbers available for you on my blog. So in the chat room, you'll see a link to those, but I am still looking for the last 2 phone numbers. Now, let's just play that down the Danny road there for a wee while. If these companies are legit, and if they are doing sponsored adverts saying that everyone's just mistaken their business model, then why is it when you ring In every single one of those phone numbers that I have found of the company directors, that they will not answer their phone. They will message you back and only text you. No one is answering their phones. Now, I did have a live the other day, and I lie. We did actually have one person who answered their phones. He promised to bring me back in 5 minutes, and I haven't. I've rung that guy back 20 times, and he will not ring me back. But he'll be watching this video right now. And if you look in the chat box, you'll see there's a link that says, join Danny DeHeck on stage right now. Now, any legitimate company that wants to put things right would put somebody on the stage with me right now while I'm recording live. But from my history of doing this over the last 5 years, no one will do it because they all want to hide. In this live, we're going to take a look through everything. What I saw at the event, what happened when I asked questions, and how the system really works, and why so many red flags are starting to stack up. Not just one, quite a few. Because once you understand the model, you start to understand the pattern. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Now, first of all, let me show you me getting manhandled out of the event on Sunday. Now, the two guys that are handling me and actually threaten me with grievous bodily harm are not the real people who did it. We have photos of those, the lady and the man that manhandled me out of the event, and they pushed me towards the door, and I had to take flight. Unfortunately, I didn't even have the opportunity to give back the microphone, which if you are going to watch, you would probably find that quite funny. So I'm going to run you through a couple of things that we've got going. So first thing what we've got going is an advert in a local paper. Now, I'm not going to show you the local paper, but this was published on Thursday, the 16th of April. And here it shows you how it is sponsored content. And this is what the company here says. Now, we're going to go through this before we look at my blog.
As a global compliant platform, SFCVIBE says it has always adhered to transparent and law-abiding operations. We reject misleading quick profit claims and offer users stable supplementary income through practical tasks. The temporary restrictions on some accounts are only preventive measures during compliance reviews, not fund seizures or misappropriation. All legitimate user earnings are protected and will be processed properly after the review. Our offline offices in Christchurch and Auckland demonstrate our commitment to local communities.
Right. So why is a corporate company now broke itself into 5 different companies and scattered themselves throughout New Zealand?
We
Good question.
provide professional services and full operational support while contributing to local development with no improper or misleading practices.
Yeah, so here's the big happy communities. As I said, they're going after the Tongan community. And this is the last part here, which we might as well read the whole lot now we've got this far.
SFCVIBE integrates social responsibility into its core business. We allocate a special public welfare fund annually and carry out programs worldwide. Youth art education in North America, educational support in Oceania, and assistance for the elderly, people with disabilities.
Right, so they're basically doing good in the community, giving people jobs, but they're not actually giving people jobs because you have to actually pay to actually get a job. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say on that. Anyway, I've asked for that to be removed from the newspaper. It'd be interesting to see if it is, but let's hope. I'm just going to hit refresh now and see if it does. Nope, still there. Give it time. It will be removed. These are the type of individuals here. This is a lady which is causing some people a lot of grief. And she actually owns, she's one of the events organizer. Now, she was running an event that apparently had 400 people at the event on Saturday. And T only, a lady, a dear friend lady who has fought people who are running pyramid schemes in the past, was actually at that event. And it was broadcast live. We didn't actually get a clip of that. They've removed the videos of the live event because she stood up and asked questions. And she got told to leave just like I did. So she told me about the event in Christchurch. I looked at a video which was encouraging me to go along and have a look, and I did all that. But T Only is an amazing individual. Now, what's interesting about T Only and this lady here, she's sort of told she wouldn't give the microphone to T Only. And T Only said, I don't need a microphone. She was a strong lady who really cares about the Tongan community. But this lady doesn't care about the Tongan community because she's not willing to listen to the red flags. She's just taking the money. There's a few things that we don't understand about this business. The first thing is, what is happening to the money? I'm an investigative journalist, and we always follow the crypto or we follow the money. The money doesn't lie. So when you paid your $1,200 for your S3 level account on your pyramid scheme, where did the money go? Do you know? Who's handling the money? Now, we have got a guy called, we've got people in here. We know one guy is the biggest promoter here in New Zealand. He's 75 years of age. Now, I rung him, Mr. Wheeler, and he won't answer his phone. Now, we know that he's probably made around about $5,000 out of this so far to date. I also know that he was also promoting another opportunity called CR Group LLC, which has morphed into the biggest scam I'm investigating at the moment, called BG Wealth Sharing. These are not innocent people. They are people that are serial promoters of Ponzi schemes, pyramid schemes, and scams, and they need to be stopped. So we're asking you if you know certain details about these individuals. Now, ironically, we know where these people live because they've used their home address on the company registers. Duh. Use your accountants next time. Keep your privacy private. But they don't live in flash houses, and that's why I had a look. These guys have been struck off companies. They don't have a history as business people. They're opportunists. They're people that are going after that money. So we know that people are walking into these offices with $1,200 or $800 to create your account, and then you can buy a $400 level, or you can go right through the levels. Now, we've got a video we're going to watch, and it's going to tell you all about it at the end. I don't know how to sort of get through this because there's a lot of data, so I don't want to waffle too much. But I think the best thing to do is to show you the Riccarton office. Now, I rang them up and told them that we are turning up at their offices today with a couple of investigators just so they would keep the doors locked for another day. And it may have saved somebody who went to go into their premises. So if you are going to Riccarton and you're dropping into this premises here, you will find the doors are probably locked today. But if you ring up this company and want to talk to them, they won't answer their phones because they are a legitimate company. As I've already shown here, I'm actually going to go through and show you some of the stuff that actually happened in the weekend. So I actually asked a few questions. So I had my questions prepared, which you'll see. Get the questions out. So, yeah, well, I've got questions. I've got about 20 questions I wanted to ask. And then what we had the organizer lady that turned up. First of all, we had Therese. We had another lady come out who did the earthquake speech, but didn't say I went not allowed to film. They had prizes. And it got to the point where this lady here, I don't know who this lady is, but I'd love to know who this lady is holding the microphone. I don't know her name. I don't think it would be hard to find it, but then she got to the point where I think she didn't like me. Let me see if I can find it. I'll just get to that point. I did ask some pretty curly questions because I was well prepared. I think this is where it all went pear-shaped about here. And I don't like doing this, but somebody's got to speak up for these people. Let's have a wee listen. So I just asked where the adverts come from. Okay. And I've been asking a few questions. Okay. And somebody was showing me their phone and the app. So isn't it, if you're paid to, I'm just curious, because if you're paid to rate the videos and you're paid to rate them as 5-star, is that ethical? So I got that wrong, but I thought that everyone was paid to rate these videos at 5 stars, but you can actually rate them, I presume, 1 to 5. I'm not sure. I haven't rated any videos, not part of the system. Like, so you're watching a video and you're paid to watch it and you're paid to hit 5-star? Oh, you can rate it. Oh, okay. Right. And this is to do with Walt Disney and Universal Studios and Sony. So is anyone else doing this?
It's so good. It must
No,
be
no,
other-
is any other company
Have
doing
they got
it?
any competition? I sound like a reporter.
Sorry?
The dragon said. There she is. If you look at her face, she's evil, man. She gives me the evils.
Oh.
Look at her. You watch her face. It's quite funny. If you can see it, I like to get a close up. We've got the.
Well, it could be, but I mean, you said that we could do a due diligence.
Oop, you're saying get
I've
rid
got
of
some
them?
more questions.
Are you from our team or you
No, I saw it on the internet, so I thought I'd drop in
drop into do what?
to have a look. I went to, no, I asked for ID and they wouldn't give me the ID because they said I hadn't signed up yet, and I said I heard it on the internet, so I come along.
You can't have viewed it on the internet.
No, there was a lady did a video about today, and she said everyone's welcome to come along, so I've come
It was actually Teresa. I didn't know that at the time, but the lady standing on the left, she actually put together the video.
along. Aren't you allowed to ask questions?
No.
No question is fine.
Thank you.
But hopefully you'll not do anything else better than actually just
So she said, hopefully you're not doing anything else. And then other people, he's been recording us. And I wasn't recording. I was live streaming.
No. Yeah. I love the video. Yeah. No, you can't have my phone. No.
Give me your phone.
No, I've got questions. I'm okay. Well, okay. No, excuse me. I'm an investigative journalist. All right, and
You should go.
I just got back from America for busting Ponzi schemes. This company is running a large-scale Ponzi scheme.
Shouldn't be.
No,
I shouldn't be here.
Cannot, you cannot.
Matt.
Jesus Christ.
Don't know what was wrong with the door. They've since come back and said I vandalised the door. So I vandalised the door in about 3 seconds. So that was funny, but it did get a bit funny, and I've got to show you the funny stuff. But what they didn't realise is I actually had the microphone and it was hooked up to the sound system. So I think where did I go? So I drove around for a bit, had a yarn to a nice fella who was saying that he thought it was a scam as well. And then I went back, went and sat outside the venue and then decided I'd warn them. Have I done this yet?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. I'll go back here. So this
Scam. And if you
is the weirdest thing I've ever done. So I'm sitting outside the venue.
G'day everybody, how are you doing? Look, I know you want this to be a proper opportunity, but it's not. The Commerce Commission of New Zealand has investigated this company, and they've also had people who are associated with this Ponzi scheme being talked to by the New Zealand police. So, you know, as much as you guys want this to be the real deal, this is a 100% scam, and if you refer anybody into it, you're actually going to lose, get yourself in a lot of trouble. So there she is. See you later. Bye-bye. I'll bring it back. So they've, if you're worried about your microphone, I can give it back, but I just don't trust the people there.
All right. So then a few minutes later, I decided that I would risk everything.
So now they're chasing me around the block.
I actually did.
I'm going to run in there and give a microphone back. And then if anything goes wrong, I'm at, get this number, 400
streaming live.
and 63, what do you call it?
Colombo.
463 Colombo Street. All right, here we go. Now, here we go. So, microphone return.
There you go, mate. So we're going to turn this around.
So this is the back door of the event.
Here we go. It's all right. Look off. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, sure. No worries, mate. Right, cheers, bro. Bye.
So this individual here, when I look back at the footage, the other footage that I've got that I weren't recording live, is he was carrying in all the boxes and all the prizes. So I can assume he's like a brother-in-law of some, like maybe Teresa, maybe the husband, I don't know, maybe the father, but they're all connected. But my point is, I don't know who this guy's name is, and I wouldn't mind knowing it. So if you do know, please let me know. He's not the person that threw me out of the venue. It was a bigger guy. But basically, you can go there and watch the whole video. So since then, and the way I was treated, because I just wanted to know the truth, I've put together a blog which basically breaks down the entire scam. And also, I've got a video of them recruiting people, which I will show you in the not too distant future. But first of all, let's have a look at the evidence and let's see what I'm alleging that this company is and why you should have extreme caution if you're thinking about staying in this company. And the reality is that if you put $1,200 down to buy yourself an S3 account where you're going to get a job, then where does that money go? How does the transaction actually work? That's why I want to speak to the guy that lost all his money. Did they take cash? Do they put that money into their accounts? Did they put it into their company? Are they authorized to take money for that business? All these questions I want to ask. So that's where you can help me. If you have lost money, let me know. So if you have to pay money to get a job, it's not a job, it's a scam. It's as simple as that. A Christchurch family sits at home staring at empty accounts after trusting that they were told what they were told was a simple way to earn money online. So this is the individual I'm talking about, and I'm pretty sure the guy that stood up in the front of the stage is the person that probably laid the police complaint. And this information here is actually grabbed out of all the online articles that we've had published by people like Chris Lynch and other news outlets. So they weren't gambling, they weren't trading, they were told that they will get paid to rate movies. What followed was a chain of deposits, updates, pressure to recruit, and eventually silence when they tried to withdraw. So to make money on this system, you were told to recruit. So it doesn't matter whether they're selling crickets, Matchbox toys, airlines. It's nothing to do with what they're claiming they're doing. It's all about recruiting and getting that membership fee from people. That's how all these scams, they always have the same pattern. This is the reality behind SFCVIBE Rating Limited. Now, we're just going to flip off to their website. Now, if you go to sfcviberating.com, you'll just find a simple login screen, which is big and clunky. That's it. You have to sign in. No account yet. You would find nothing. However, if you put the word as a subdomain, official.sfcvibe rating, you'll find this website. Now, I'll go through some of the basics on the website. I have emailed all the email addresses that are on this website and also any other advertising I've seen that the company does, and every single one of those email addresses bounce back. So there's no way of contacting this company by the advertised email addresses on their own website. The next thing, it's got contact via Telegram. Now, you can't actually engage with anybody in their Telegram. You can only get posts of when they do updates. So technically speaking, there's no way in hell you can communicate with anyone who operates this website. The next big lie is so that they're claiming that they've got an app, supports OS and Android systems. Choose the version suitable for your device. And when you click on get it on Google Play, you are actually not getting it on Google Play. It downloads what they call a script, an APK file, which is a configuration file for your phone. Very dangerous to do so, because this scam
will originate from China. And it will be probably managed by people in human trafficking compounds, because that's what they do in those cities that you see all those people who are forced to work for slave labor. There's no connection to the Google Play Store. Now, the Google Play Store is easy peasy lemon squeezy to get an app in there if you want to. It's not rocket science, but even this one isn't in there. Right. It says here quite clearly, download on the Apple App Store. When you click on that, it sends a configuration file to your iPhone. It does not take you to the App Store. You will not find this in the list of approved apps on the Apple App Store. Quite sophisticated that they've managed to get that going. Is more red flags than you can poke a stick at, just what they're actually claiming here and what is actually happening when you click on those buttons. Don't install the app. It can monitor you. Some of these apps like Bond Chat that they use in other scams that we're currently fighting, they are literally listening to you talk. They can turn your speaker on. They can turn your camera on whenever you're doing anything and eavesdrops on you. These apps are not to be trusted. It's absolutely ridiculous. So this whole website is a one-page website. There's no terms and conditions. There's no privacy policies. There's no disclaimers. There's nothing, absolutely nothing, except a one-page website that flicks to different sections when you click on it. So this is red flag, just the website alone, if you can navigate your way there if you don't know the exact address. The platform presented itself as a global firm analyst company, while underneath the investigation in New Zealand suspected, so the investigation that's going on at the moment, they suspect it's a pyramid scheme. Over the past few weeks, I've reviewed the media coverage, analysed the website, examined the company structure, tracked the app distribution, and compared the model to patterns that I've seen on other scams and schemes that I do all the time. So if you don't know who I am, I'll just have to break that box out there for a second. Oh, there's that lady again. She'll be happy that she's on there. So I've got a team of Avengers. I fight scams internationally, and we go after all the different scams that you see happening around the world. Now, I just got back from America, when I say just, probably about 6 or 8 weeks ago now, and I was investigating a scam that was worth $328 million. And 2 days after I got back home, the guy who was running that company actually got charged for the crime of running a large-scale Ponzi scheme and scam. And literally, I was speaking to some interesting fella yesterday. He lost $750,000 to it. I've had people on the phone ring me up telling me they've lost $9.5 million to it. But they all started somewhere. You know, so if you go into here, you'll see that I've got all these here different Ponzi schemes and scams I'm investigating. So the one I was just talking about, this is the sort of data that we gather. So what we do is we literally have persons of interest, and these are profiles of everybody we see running or promoting large-scale Ponzi schemes and scams. If I go back to Ponzi schemes and scams, you'll see, if I go down, I don't even know if I've actually done one here, but I have to think about this now. Divine Gold, oh, there it is. So this is the start. So this is a bit crazy because I haven't actually done anything on it. But we will, all the marketers that we do have, like for example, I do actually have one marketer. So let's do this. So let's go to persons of interest. I have now created a folder called Tonga. And in here, I've got one lady that I've seen promoting this. And I now will put her name. I'll go back here and I will start building a better database. So we go to Ponzi schemes and scams. We're going to go to CS trading. We go to marketers. I will put a column in here for her. And then we will put a link and we'll put paste. And now we've got people that we have seen marketing this opportunity. And the other thing that we'll do, that like once they've got a taste of doing this sort of stuff, we see them doing it again and again, which is absolutely crazy. So now we'll put it in here and we can say we've seen this lady promoting this scam. And I don't even think I've got that lady in the right scam, actually. I think I've got her on the wrong scam. So I'll just take that back out again. Forget I did any of that, but you'll get the point. But we have a database. That's what we do. I do it professionally. And that's how I make my living, is chasing down these scams. So over the last few weeks, we've received, we've tracked apps and done all that. What emerged isn't just a questionable opportunity or a poorly explained business. It is a, is it resignable?
Recognizable.
Recognizable and repeatable pattern. Nothing new about this opportunity. It doesn't matter what they're selling. As I said, it's all structured the same way. One built on deposits, tiers, recruitment, and manufactured credibility. Now spreading through local companies, online groups, and platforms that raise serious questions about transparency, accountability, and consumer safety. So if you wanted to get your money back, who do you talk to? Crickets. If you can't ring up the people who are registering these companies, who are you going to talk to? If you can't email the people from the email address that are publicly displayed on their website, who are you going to talk to? Do you really want to be part of something like this and have belief that it's real and it's genuine? Are you really going to trust your friend? The lady who ran the presentation on Sunday when I was there face to face was reading it off her phone. She rang me up afterwards pleading with me to take the video offline. She's even put a privacy complaint in about the video of her marketing this product because she said she didn't understand what she was doing. She even claimed that she had no idea the ins and outs of the company. And here she is on the stage telling people that the Commerce Commission is investigating the company because 3 individuals have gone AWOL in the company, and that's why they instigated a investigation with the Commerce Commission. Nothing to do with their company at all, she claimed. And here she is representing what I call a security, a financial service, which is just out of this world. So, oh, look at this. Hello, Queen Akama, you're in here. Nice to see you here. Lovely to have you here. Anyway, the story they told. Before anyone lost money, I hate this name, SFCVIBE built a narrative designed to pass casual credibility checks. In late 2025, the company began publishing press releases presenting itself as a global film film data firm, powered by artificial intelligence and operating across international markets. It spoke about analytics, audience insight, and digital infrastructure, language that sounded technical, legitimate, and forward-looking. So they were basically saying, now I've just thought of something incredible here. I don't know why I didn't do this earlier. Silly me. Right, there's the website. Here's that lady again. And now we're going to go to, we'll leave her on there actually. Oh, yes, that's one. I'm going to leave that there. But I just want to do a quick look on the Wayback Machine. So even though this company's been registered since 2022 in America, wonder if it's always had the same identity as it does now. Nothing. So that domain name hasn't existed for 2000 because every domain name's in here. So let's try it from here. So this domain name, this company that claims to be registered since 2022, from 2020, that's their domain name. And the Wayback Machine always picks up domain names. It's clever. And it's only been here in 2026. If you were to do apples with apples and you use deheck.com, which is where you can go and support me if you want to, you can see that my domain name has got histories right back to 2021, which is crazy. And if you went to danny.co.nz, you'll see that my other domain name, and I showed this the other day, goes back to 1999. Prince would be proud of me. And you can come down here and then you can click on whatever you want to click. So my first domain name, so January the 25th, 1999, I can go back to my website that I was developing back then. That's what the Wayback Machine does. So as I just showed you, the domain name for this company has only been seen once, which is ridiculous. Right, so where are we? We're looking back to here. So by October, the narrative escalated. The company claimed a 5 million global advertising campaign. Have you seen the adverts? Along with regional hubs in cities like London, Tokyo, Los Angeles. A month later, they introduced what they called user growth point system, rewarding users for promoting the platform and increasing the visibility. Well, they haven't done a very good job because they've only been listed once in the Wayback Machine. On paper, it looked like engagement. In practice, it was structured promotion, turning users into marketers without calling it recruitment, giving them a job. This is where the story becomes more important than the product, because while the messaging became more polished, the underlying business model
remained vague. There was no clear explanations of revenue, no verifiable client relationships, and no independent confirmation of partnerships being referred. The platform positioned itself as part of the global film industry. Right on. And I've just come back from Universal Studios when I was in Florida, funny enough, but provided no evidence of where the money was actually coming from. So I know where the money's coming from, and I'll put you out of your misery now. It's coming from recruitment. And we don't even know where they're banking the money or how they deposit the money or where they deposit the money. And that's the critical point. The narrative was designed to be convincing at a glance. It sounded like something real, something scalable, something already established. But when you look past the language and into the substance, the foundations are missing. And in cases like this, the gap between what's claimed and what's proven is where the real risk begins. How the system actually works. Once you move past the branding, the structure becomes much clearer. Users are told they can earn money by completing simple tasks. Now, we've talked about BG Wealth Sharing Management and Wave Swift and Nino and CR Global LLC and also signalraiders.com. They are all task scams where, because you're doing something like a hamster on a wheel each day, you think that you deserve the money that you're getting. But they're just doing that. Cut and paste work or clicking on a button isn't a job. Sorry. Ask anyone who works at the supermarket. They go, beep. Once you move past the branding, the structure becomes clearer. The users are told they can earn money for simple tasks, typically rating movies, short video clips, which are all... Do your research on the adverts you're watching. Take a screenshot of the advert you're watching. Do a search and see whether that company actually exists. Where are those adverts taking people? What are they asking people to do? These are things that you want to investigate if you are using this. But before they can begin, they require you to pay an upfront deposit to unlock access to the system. Are you guys kidding me? Do you really think that's a job? The platform introduces a tiered membership structure, ranging from entry-level accounts to higher tier packages costing thousands of dollars. Each level promises higher daily returns. The numbers are fixed, predictable, and scale directly with the amount deposit. How ridiculous is that? That's not how real work behaves. It's how investment style returns are presented inside a controlled system. The deeper you look, the more mechanics align with something else entirely. Users are not just encouraged to complete tasks, they are incentivized to bring in other followers. Commissions are paid on recruitment, and those payments flow upwards through the structure. The tasks themselves, clicking buttons, submitting ratings, serve as a visual layer, not an economic one. So you can see the banner here for Behind MLM, which I'll go to in a few minutes. Now, a tip of the hat to Oz from Behind MLM, who has already classified SFCVIBE as part of the click a button Ponzi model, a system where there is no external revenue and the funds from new participants are used to pay earlier ones. So if you go to Oz, it's Behind MLM, support him if you can. What I'm going to show you might shock you, and I'm not going to read this article, but here he breaks down these stories. He goes into, so there's another domain name, which I didn't look, and I'm just going to go back to the Wayback Machine and put that. Now, we've got SFCVIBE and once again, you can see that this has only ever had one visit by the Wayback Machine. So that's good spotting. Thanks, Oz. And then it's got the other one here, which I just showed you earlier on. But have a look at this. What's that code in there? So this company is claiming that they are actually from America. This company was incorporated in 2020. And then all of a sudden you go to the website and look at the code and there's Chinese characters in here. That's because this scam has been ran out of a human trafficking compound. Now, it's either going to be in Vietnam, or Cambodia. My bet is Cambodia because I've actually been to Cambodia and I've been inside those casinos which are all owned by the Chinese, leased back to the Cambodian people, and they're in the casinos betting with American money. It's quite ironic. There was 30 to 35 different casinos when I was there, and that was 5-6 years ago. And now there's over 130 of these casinos, and they have buildings where people are actually working under juries. They're called human trafficking compounds. Now, not many people can say this, but I've sat there and shook the hand of the chief of police for Cambodia. And he was literally, interesting story, side story, had 5 cell phones on him. And I said, what do you do with all these cell phones? And he said, oh, we don't trust them on the internet. My data's too sensitive. So he bumps data between phones rather than having a phone on the internet, which he believes can be hacked. Now, if the chief of police for Cambodia is so concerned about people hacking his phone, why are you installing apps like Bond Chat or apps, configuration files to install apps on your phone? Are you really that batshit crazy? Oh, it hasn't stopped my phone from using. They'll be eavesdropping on you. They will be able to potentially find your credit card details that you've got stored on your phone. Your privacy is what all these scams are about these days. Anyway, if you go through this here, you can see all the banners and all the adverts that you may have already seen to join this. You can see the office in Riccarton that they've set up in, and I will actually go in there and meet the person that run it. And the worst part is you can see the S3 service here. So what they are alleging that you're going to make over $14,000 a year if you sign up for this S3. So initially you sign up, I think you buy an account for $800. And I think then you need to buy your levels. And they start from $100 and go up to $15,000. They must be laughing when you sign up for that one. And if you pay, get this, $15,000 for your job, you are going to make $600 a day. I think this scam's going to fall over in no time. So we come through here, and if you go down through his article enough, you can see the certificates that look real. You can hardly read them. Reason for that. And it's just stupid stuff. But you go down here, now you're going to start reading about Cambodia. And now you're going to start seeing people that have been associated with the same circles as this scam. So individuals that are linked to SFCVIBE, Oz has done an amazing investigation, and then we can see the people who are behind it all. So if you haven't read that article and the people getting arrested, then you need to wake up and smell the coffee. And look, even I have posted the letter that I've written to the Financial Markets Authority here in New Zealand, and it's a really, really good read. So you can find that on my blog. And you can tip the hat to Oz for publishing such a great thing. Okay, Susie's got a wee message for you. She says, listen up, folks. We're going to cut to the chase. This is a Chinese operator scam running out of Cambodia, scam compounds in, I can't even say that word. We found the writer of the articles. So we've literally found blogs that have been published on their websites, and we've actually gone back to the author of those blogs and found through our networks the connected person to that author. And we've found that they're coming out of Cambodia. I mean, you don't have to believe us. You've got no proof that this isn't a scam. And I'm giving you the receipts. The New Zealand companies behind the operation, as I continue to dig, something stood out. I'm going to call it Vibe. Didn't just exist online. It rapidly built a physical and corporate footprint across New Zealand. What initially looked like a single operation expanded into multiple locally registered companies, each tier to a different region and controlled by a different individuals. On paper, these are separate New Zealand entities. Let's see what we've got here. Why is my battery that bad? 1 minute, please, caller. I'm just going to see if we can actually ring these companies. So I just need to set up my phone and I'll carry on reading, but I'll get myself to the point where I'm in the right place. And then I should have done this earlier, but there's so many things you've got to do earlier that sometimes you just can't. So let's have a look here. Right, so what have we got? The company's office records show at least 5 different Vibe branded companies established within a short period of time. So I've taken the liberty here of actually putting the phone numbers of the individuals that we do have, and I'm actually going to ring them just to show to you that these companies don't answer their phones, which is a bit ironic to a company that's claiming that they are not running scams. Now, the first lady I'm going to ring is the Auckland office, and hopefully it will come through the audio system. Actually, I'm going to lie. I'm going to ring up, I'll do them in order so I remember which one we did. So we're going to ring up Ronald, and you can do the same. So we're ringing up Donald. Let's see if I can put that on that's not working. There we go. It's coming through now. Now, it just rings and rings.
The person you have dialed can't take your call now. When you've finished recording, press hash for more options or just hang up.
Hello, Ronald. This is Danny DeHeck. I'm currently live on the internet at the moment doing a video about your SFCVIBE rating Riccarton Limited Company. Now, I've rung you 20 times. You are claiming that you're a legitimate company. Why will you not return my call? Why do I need to ring you so many times and get no action? Now, I've heard from other people in the Tongan community that you're a coward and you don't want to ring me up. So you're living the dream. Ring me back. My phone number is 021 961 652. The sooner the better. You promised to ring me back 5 minutes after I rang you the first time, and you've failed to do so. All right, so that's him. So there's the first thing. So that's what's going to happen. If you sign up, it doesn't matter who you are. You can come here, click that button, and you can ring up Ronald, and you will not get the phone answered. So do you want to join up and be part of that company? Right, so now we're going to go to another number, and we'll go to the next one. So Robin Stanley Wheeler is a 75-year-old individual who we have been told he may be even in the dementia world at the moment, unfortunately. He has been involved in CR Global LLC Limited, which was a scam that's involved into BG wealth sharing. So this isn't his first rodeo, but he's already. So once again, you would think a legitimate company would let you ring them, but you can't. No, I'm going to ring. Yeah, I'll ring him now. I've got them out of order. But this is what happens when you ring this company. Straight to answer machine.
Not available right at the moment. Leave a message. I'll come back to you.
At the tone, record your message.
Hello, Robin. This is Danny DeHeck. I've actually called you about 20 times. You've never, ever returned my message. I'm live on the internet now, and I'm looking at your company that you have set up called SFC Vibe Northwest Limited, and I understand that you are actually taking money on behalf of an international company and putting it through your company. Technically called money laundering, from my opinion, and that's just my opinion, but I have asked you multiple times to ring me, and you don't. I know where you live. I know how old you are. I know your living arrangements. I know you don't even own your own house, and you've been on your bones of your ass for a long time. I don't know why you do this, and I also know that you used to be running another get-rich-quick opportunity that has fallen over called CR Group LLC. I don't know why a company would set up a company and then not take phone calls from people that ring. And I've just advertised your phone number so other people can ring you up and see if they get the same response I did. Because this is not a legitimate opportunity that you're promoting. It's a scam. And you're running a pyramid scheme. And it's got to be stopped. If I have anything to do with it, I'm going to stop you. All right, deaf ears. So you can hide behind your phone. But the one that takes the cake is this lady called, I can't even read her name, but it's this lady here. And you can read that name, and we're going to ring her up and see if she answers. I already had her phone number on my phone, so that means she's probably been involved in the past as well. But let's see if she'll ring up. And then we can ask her some of the questions.
This is the voicemail box of 20419873111. Please leave a message after the tone.
Press 1 if you wish to leave a message or hang up otherwise.
Hello, Fane. This is Danny De Heck. I'm a investigative journalist based in Christchurch, New Zealand. I've been trying to reach out to your company that's been advertised, SFCVIBE Rating Manukau Limited, and I've been ringing everybody in the company hoping that somebody would actually return my call. Now, I know you're putting out adverts saying that you're a legitimate company and the Commerce Commission is researching you because they've just got it all wrong. But I have got numerous people to ring you and you never return anyone's call. The only time you return people's call is via text. So if you're not doing anything wrong, then jump on the internet, go to danny.co.nz and please reach out to us because we'd love to ask you a few questions about this not pyramid scheme company that you are promoting to everybody. Now we're going to name and shame individuals. We're going to build a file on you and we're going to put all that information together and we're going to make sure we help the police with their investigation. Contact me if I've got it wrong. So, this is what I'm getting at. So all those companies literally don't, but if you want to ring those people, you can hold your mouse over there and click it and it will pop up and ring those people. And what we want now is the ones in black. We don't have the phone number of this individual. So if you want to put that in the chat room, if you find it or email it to me anonymously, that would be great. And also this individual, I wonder what the computer sounds like when you read him.
Skylar Matenga.
Skylar Matenga. That does sound like a Tongan name, just saying. And this one?
Tupunga Mitchell.
Whew, Danny's never going to pronounce those ones. But anyway, all these companies were incorporated between January and mid-April 2026. Each has a single director with 100% shares. So you'd think how does that work? Just think about what I just said there. Each of these companies have set up under the name, the brand, SFC Vibe. They're leasing premises. Now, I know that this guy here, Robin Stanley Wheeler, has actually leased a building. How long do you lease the building for normally? Well, he's leased it for 4 months. Crazy. Thank you to the leasing agent for that information, by the way. All these companies were incorporated between January, blah, blah. Not listed. Each of them has a single director, not listed ultimate holdings, no one listed ultimate holding company. So that means they should have some connection to the master company back in America. That's what I'm getting at, I think. And no constitution filed. Is that constitution?
Constitution.
I got it right. That structure is not unlawful in itself, but it is unusual for a platform representing itself as a global coordinated operation with significant funding with international partnerships. So how's the money moving? I'll say it again. How does the money for this organization work? How do these companies distribute the money for people watching the ads? These are transparent questions, ladies and gentlemen. There is no visible pattern entity, no central governance, and no clear explanation of how these companies connect to the broader SFC Vibe platform. Boy, I hope I don't have to say that too much. One name that has already been firmly in the public domain is Ron Vans, and I think we've got his full name up here now because we've taken it. We must update that name. I'm pretty sure that's a longer name. Yeah, Bernard. Don't forget your middle name. The director of Riccarton-based entity has appeared in multiple New Zealand media reports as the spokesman for the platform. He has publicly defended the model, declined it as a pyramid scheme, and attribute complaints to misuse by users. That is crazy. So the guy that stood up, told everyone that he invested in the company, can't get his money out, is distraught about losing his investment, is the people they're throwing under the bus. And I tell you what, when I could feel the familyness in the room when I was at that event. And it's awful when you see snake oil salesmen interwounding themselves in these Tongan communities. I love culture and I love people who embrace that side of life. I don't really have much of a big family myself, but when I see culture being abused by other snake oil salesmen, it upsets me. And I believe that these people who have set these companies are idiots because they have been thrown in front of the bus for some entity that is probably, well, is, in my opinion, ran out of human trafficking compounds out of Cambodia. And we can already see that Oz has highlighted the Chinese text in there. Why would, if you come to me to develop a website, why would it have Chinese text in the source code? Really? Wake up, guys. Negligence is not an excuse for bad behavior. So it's got not just, so it says, what have we got? Reports, media, that places him directly in the operational narrative. So Ronald here, because he's 100% director of that company that he's set up under the brand and in Riccarton, so he's 100% director. That means the bus stops at his door. He's responsible for all the money that's going in through that door because he's the sole owner. And he got told to set that up. He probably got paid to set up the offices. He has publicly defended the model, declined the pyramid scheme, blah, blah, blah. That places him directly in the operation narrative, not just listed as a director, but someone who actively promoting and representing the system locally. Other directors are less visible in mainstream reporting, but their names are surfaced in the community level discussions and warnings posted, particularly within specific community groups where concerned about VIBE have been actively shared. It's important to be clear these discussions are not independently verified filings, but they do indicate that awareness of these individuals is circling among the communities being targeted by the scheme. What this ultimately reveals is not proof of wrongdoing by any individual, but some think just as important, the decentralized local structure rolled out quickly within. I'm not reading very well today. I don't read well any days. I'm just going to read the next paragraph to get the flow going.
Identifiable individuals fronting different regions and no clear central oversight visible from the outside. In situations like this, that matters, because if the system fails, the question becomes very simple: who is responsible, and where does accountability actually sit?
The early warnings before New Zealand caught up.
What stands out in this case is how early the warnings began overseas. In February 2026, the Consumer Council of Fiji issued a clear alert, describing SFCVIBE as a sophisticated task-based pyramid scheme designed to defraud users. They identified the key mechanics: immediately upfront payments, tiered access, and recruitment incentives driving the system. Those warnings didn't come after a collapse. They came while the platform was still actively expanding.
Yeah, so all this has happened in 2026, which is batshit crazy, really, isn't it? Because this company theoretically is registered 2020, and their domain names don't add up. Nothing adds up about this company except it's running out of human trafficking compound. Thanks for the words of encouragement, Rich.
At the same time, reports were already emerging of users being unable to withdraw funds. Conditions were being added, accounts were being restricted, and users were being told to complete more tasks or upgrade their level before accessing their money. These are not isolated complaints. They are consistent with how these systems behave when liquidity tightens, when more people try to take money out than are putting money in.
Yeah, so you get this. People are told to upgrade their accounts before they can get their money out. Can you imagine going along to your bank or your job and you want to be paid for the work you've been doing? And they tell you, I'm sorry, you need to upgrade your account before you can get the money out that we promised that we're going to give you when you signed up for that account. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely batshit crazy. In New Zealand, the Commerce Commission have opened an investigation confirming that VIBE is a suspected Ponzi scheme and scam under the Fair Trading Act. Their advertisements are being questioned. This case is active and the outcome is still being determined, but the warning is already there. So they don't issue these warnings lightly. So here's the warning, and here they are telling you that the Fair Trading Act is being questioned. So we've added to that investigation. We've gave them some information, and we also gave them the videos and the names of anyone we had at the time, and that database is growing every day. Now let's go to the next one.
What's harder to ignore is the gap between these warnings and the broader regulatory response. Despite widespread media coverage, international alerts, and a growing body of evidence, there has still been no public warning issued by the Financial Markets Authority at the time of writing. That's not just a delay, it raises serious questions about response time and accountability.
Yep, and I've got a real bee in my bonnet about this
I've
one, I'll tell
already
you.
submitted a formal complaint to the FMA outlining the structure of the platform, the risks to New Zealand consumers, and the volume of publicly available evidence. The reality is, much of the early warning in cases like this is being driven by journalists, independent investigators, and community discussions, rather than by the regulator that's expected to lead on financial risk. When that happens, it creates a gap, and that gap is where more people get pulled in before any formal warning appears.
Yeah, so this is the warning that I sent to Hillary, which is the head of the FMA, and the financial market team. And I emailed 16 different people, 14, I think it was, different people. And I basically write to them and I basically tell them, you know, what I've seen happening, why they should be investigating this. I would appreciate clarity on the following. What threshold must be met before the FMA issues a public warning about this company? How does the FMA coordinate with the Commerce Commission, who already obviously started an investigation? And what steps are currently being taken across? So I sent that off, and I think that they have a sense of responsibility. And I'm quite adamant about me sending off those emails. So if you want to read that, you just need to pause my screen and then put me on 1.5 times to get back up to where I'm at. But that's proof that I've actually engaged with. Well, that's not proof that I've engaged with them. This is proof that I've engaged with them. So here's the response, a follow-up response. So this response was a follow-up response because I put together a video of what happened at the event to show to them to make sure they catalogue what's going on. And I mentioned about, I actually said the 20th of April, but it was actually the 19th of April. And I said, here's a video of me being manhandled out of the event because I simply asked questions. Given the following, the ongoing investigation by the Commerce Commission, the volume of media coverage raises some concerns, international warnings already issued, the structure involving deposits, recruitment, and restricting withdrawals, and the behaviour observed when due diligence questions are asked. So this was a follow-up. So I've now sent 2 emails off to the FMA, our financial regulator. So I received the first response back from a lady called Samantha. Now, Samantha, I've dealt with in the past. Thank you for your emails. And this is why I get so frustrated. So they basically said to me, it's not their problem. And this is what they've written.
Dear Danny, thank you for your emails of the 18th of April and the 20th of April, 2026, setting out your concerns regarding SFCVIBE rating. We acknowledge the issues you have raised in relation to SFCVIBE rating, and the potential risks you consider may be associated with that platform. We appreciate the time you have taken to reference media reporting, publicly available information, and your own investigative work. Given the concerns raised in your email, we have considered this matter pursuant to the complaints about the FMA policy and have reviewed the relevant information. By way of clarification, the Financial Markets Authority's FMA role is limited to matters that fall within our statutory mandate under the Financial Markets Conduct Act and related legislation. Our focus is on whether a product, service, or activity involves regulated financial products or services, or conduct that otherwise falls within our supervisory or enforcement remit. Not all schemes or platforms that raise concerns about consumer harm sit within the FMA's regulatory perimeter. Where a platform such as SFCVIBE rating is concerned, our initial consideration is whether the activity involves financial products or services as defined in legislation, or whether the issues raised are more appropriately addressed under consumer protection law. Based on the information currently available to us, the FMA's understanding is that SFCVIBE rating appears to exhibit characteristics commonly associated with the pyramid-style scheme, including features consistent with so-called job or task-based scams given the recruitment requirements and basic digital tasks, such as rating and reviewing movies are a feature. At this stage, we have not identified any apparent link to regulated financial services or financial products that would bring the activity within the FMA's regulatory remit. Concerns of this nature are generally led by the Commerce Commission, and as you are aware, they have publicly advised of their concerns and are acting. While the FMA maintains information sharing arrangements with other agencies, including the Commerce Commission, each regulator must act within its own statutory powers and decision-making thresholds. With respect to public warnings, the FMA does not issue alerts solely on the basis of media reporting or third-party allegations. Warnings are issued where specific legal criteria are met, including an assessed risk of significant consumer detriment and a clear connection to matters within the FMA's jurisdiction. There are also legal and procedural constraints on what we can publicly confirm or disclose. The absence of a public warning should not be taken as an endorsement of any platform or activity. Accordingly, there is no regulatory basis for the FMA to issue a public warning in relation to SFCVIBE rating. We recognize the broader point you raise about the importance of timely public information and the potential for harm arising from emerging schemes. The FMA keeps its processes and thresholds under regular review and continues to work with partner agencies where issues span multiple regulatory frameworks. With respect to your recent attendance at a SFCVIBE event in Christchurch and your experience during this interaction, this video does not include any indication that SFCVIBE or its activities fall within FMA remit. We suggest you report directly to Commerce Commission via their Report a Concern section of their website. For completeness, we also note that Andrew Park and Hilary Zhang are no longer with the FMA. As previously communicated to you in our email of the 8th of January, 2026, we ask that you update your contact details accordingly. We appreciate you taking the time to engage on these matters and to contribute to broader awareness of potential risks. If you have further information that you believe is relevant to the FMA's statutory remit, you are welcome to share this through our reporting channels, where it can be considered alongside other information received. Details about complaints process are also available on our website, should you wish to seek a review of this response.
Alrighty, so just in short here, guys, it's interesting to know that Andrew Park and Hillary have left. So I don't know who's in charge now. But okay, so they're basically saying it's not their problem. And I challenge that. So, oh my goodness, have I got... So I think that's just a load of bullshit, to be honest. So I've actually gone back and said that's bullshit. And I think you would probably, I don't know, you don't have to agree with me, but I just can't believe that you write to the financial regulator and it looks like they're using everything they can to sidestep doing anything about this. Now, when they do publish a warning, it's normally between 100 and 150 words at the most, except for CR Group LLC. They did a milestone on that one because they had 900 different domains to list. But let's not go down that thing. So this is my reply to them, which I haven't had a response yet. And they don't like me going public. And they're very PC about everything. But they don't do anything to stop these companies. Because what use would a public warning do 2 months after people have already started giving away their hard-earned money? And what part of this operation is true and genuine? None. So anybody can go along, set up a company in New Zealand and do what the hell you want because the FMA is going to say, well, this isn't a financial product. And I'm going, well, did you not watch the video where Teresa was telling people to deposit $1,200 and they were going to get $14,000 worth in wages per year back if they rate 5 10-second videos a day? What part of legitimate business is that? And so this is my lovely email back to Samantha. Before I get off my soapbox, I'll finish this.
Hello, Samantha. Let's step back and look at this properly. People are being asked to put money in with the expectation of a fixed daily return. I've seen examples of $1,200 turning into claims of $40 a day. That's over $14,000 a year. That's not casual income. That's a promised return on an investment. Once you cross that line, this stops being tasks or side income and starts looking very much like a financial product, whether they want to call it that or not. And that's exactly where the FMA's role becomes relevant. The FMA exists to protect the public from misleading financial offers and regulated investment schemes and unrealistic return claims. If something's being marketed as a way to generate consistent returns from deposited funds, then questions need to be asked.
They do need to be. Where is the revenue actually coming from? Is this offer registered, licensed, or compliant? Are the returns being generated internally or simply externally or simply redistributed internally? So is it a Ponzi scheme, in other words? So what they're basically saying, it's not a financial product, but it was presented because they've just chosen to use terminology that may not actually say it's a financial product. It still walks like a duck, looks like a duck, quacks like a duck. It's doing the same thing as if they actually come out and said we're running a Ponzi scheme. So I might just start up my own Ponzi scheme and put it right under the nose of the FMA, knowing that they're not going to do sweet all about it.
Because when people are making decisions based on promised returns, and those promises aren't backed by verifiable evidence, that's where real harm happens. This isn't about semantics. It's about whether people are being led to believe they're investing in something legitimate when they're not. And if that's the case, then it's not just a debate, it's exactly the kind of situation regulators are supposed to step into before more people lose money. I'll be blunt, it shouldn't take someone like me, an independent investigator, to keep pushing this just to get attention on something that is clearly putting New Zealanders at risk.
That's their job. Okay, where do we get risk? So now this is actually saying, well, okay then, let me use this to, let's have a look at the last opportunity that you did publish on your website. And let's just have a look at these two paragraphs here.
I find myself repeatedly having to argue the obvious while these schemes continue operating in plain sight. When I look at something like CR Group LLC rebranding into BG Wealth Sharing, I struggle to see any meaningful difference in structure or behavior compared to what we are seeing here. The model is the same. The tactics are the same. The only thing that changes is the name, and that happens in a matter of days. Yet the response always feels reactive, slow, cautious to the point where it becomes ineffective. By the time formal action or warnings appear, the damage has already been done and the operation has often moved on or rebranded again. From the outside, it looks like enforcement only happens when there's no other option left, when the situation becomes too visible to ignore.
Yeah, and it is like that. You know, it literally is like, what do I have to do to get this company whose job I thought was to protect New Zealand from financial harm to actually do something, or even write a post-it note about something, or even to update other previous warnings is just like a nightmare. It takes me more energy to actually write these emails to the financial regulator of New Zealand than it does to actually publish a blog about it. And I put myself on the line as an individual, which I've never, you know, if they use me, I stick my neck out there. Surely no one's going to take the FMA. Do you think this company, the FMA, if you are watching this, hopefully you are at Smoko, is actually going to be hauled into the courtroom by an overseas company that no one can find any communication links with, who doesn't exist? This company doesn't exist. And they've now set up 5 companies in New Zealand as a persona that they are part of a big corporate that doesn't exist. And all of a sudden they're going to take you into the courtroom because you say, hey, New Zealand, let's be careful out there. This has every hallmark, every pattern. There needs to be another category where they can actually say, in our opinion, we believe that this company could be running a Ponzi scheme. How hard could that be? Let's carry on.
The response I received reads like something I've seen many times before. It feels templated, detached from what's actually happening on the ground. Meanwhile, these groups are running physical events, recruiting aggressively, and exposing people to real financial harm in real time.
They are. And that's the truth of it. All right, let's get to the end of it.
This isn't theoretical. At the event I attended, a man stood up at the beginning and spoke about losing money. He appeared visibly distressed, genuinely struggling, and was trying to warn others not to make the same mistake. Instead of being heard, he was removed. I followed him outside because I was concerned for his well-being, but he had already disappeared. That moment stuck with me, because it wasn't about theory or terminology. It was a real person, visibly impacted, trying to stop others from going through the same thing. That's the human cost of delay. These schemes don't wait for regulatory processes to catch up. They scale, they recruit, and when pressure builds, they disappear or rebrand. If the response remains slow and reactive, then the reality is simple. More people get hurt before anything meaningful happens. This isn't just about identifying risk, it's about acting on it while it's still unfolding.
Yeah, so that's my bitch to the financial regulator, and that's my response, which to date I haven't received a response. I'm not saying they don't have one. But just going down previous scams. So this was one that this is actually what they called CR Group LLC. Now, what gets me about this particular scam, I'm not diverting, I'm telling you a story, that people that are promoting this SFC Vibe scam have already been promoting this scam. So they need to stop going after the fake companies and doing reports, but they need to start going after the people that are promoting these scams and giving them serious warnings that they're not allowed to. Now, just to give you an idea, this is the biggest warning I've ever seen. They explain how the scam works, how to avoid the scam, and if you have been scammed, how to get all the help, and then the fraudulent investment platform. So now you can see, oh my God, Susie, they've updated it. So these are the other scams that we have published on my blog about. So first of all, Swiftwave Capital is the same as BG Wealth Sharing Group. And then we've also got their exchange. What else have we got? They didn't mention Nova. If you're watching this FMA, you need to update Nova as well. I don't know why you just don't put me in charge of the FMA. That would be fantastic. But just to give you an idea, now we was watching a Tongan meeting yesterday. These are all the different domain names that this company has set up. And I'm gonna diverse, but I need to go back. I need to go back to yesterday's video and show you something shocking, because you won't believe this unless you've seen this before. But we were filming, I think it was this one here. And I think the job we will have.
Go outside.
Yes. All right. So we were doing. How do I explain this in layman's term? We were spying on the Tongan community who are promoting the scam that I just told you, and in here they had people coming into this Zoom meeting, and they couldn't find a website that didn't have a warning on it saying it was publishing a phishing scam. And just watch what they do. So this is so every day you got to do your trades. You've got to cut and paste your trades into the website so you get your money. But every website that has been produced has getting these suspected misleading websites. Now, what they're getting flagged for running a phishing scam, basically dubious websites. And they're getting reported as fast as the domain names come out. So individuals are coming into this Tonga group, and they are basically saying that there's that warning. So they will hunt around and find them one of the other domain names that haven't got that warning yet. So they just they're up to about 900. Well, I think Bob said 1,000 domains. But watch this. Suspected misleading. I'm going to ask them, if I get a chance, I'm going to ask them why they think that's okay. I'm just going to put this on a different screen. I want to see if I can change my name. I've got smell it. I'd love to know what they're saying. Does anyone got a translator?
James. Here, Manu want to speak to you. Manu's want to talk to you right now.
Manu. So Manu has been asked to get on here because they can't find a domain name that doesn't have that warning on it so they can do their daily trade. So even though there's warnings about these sites, they're trying to bypass them. It's absolutely batshit crazy. Oh.
I can't see.
Is it okay to bypass the warning?
Who cares? Hurry up, James. Manu's busy.
Hurry up.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, what's happening?
James.
No, Manu is
James.
to DSJ. And
James.
turn it up. It's on speaker. It's on speaker, but I don't know. It's
James.
go louder.
James. This is crazy.
She's calling you.
Okay.
Yes.
Look at the top net on top. No, the app on top. On the screen.
Unplug your phone so I can.
Okay.
I think I found this lady's YouTube channel.
All right. So this is a live meeting
Got
right now.
Safari.
And
Oh,
they're doing the same thing as yesterday.
Manu.
But they
Manu.
Hey, Bob, are you there? Can you go in here? I'll give you the code. So the ID for this room,
Safari.
take their mind off me. Password, 1, 2, 3, 4. Somebody else go in there and cause some havoc. So they're literally in here trying to find website addresses that haven't been flagged for fraud. And this is all the same people who are promoting this SFC Vibe thing. And, they're literally doing what they were doing yesterday.
19.
Yep.
And they're trying to find a website that hasn't been flagged yet. You can't make this shit up.
H5 slash
Oh, you're back. Good on you.
iOS.
So they're typing in one of the 9,000 domain names to find one that hasn't been flagged so they can do their trading.
Oh,
There you go.
There
You
you
can
go.
add it to your home screen.
okay.
You know how to add the home screen?
All right, so I'm
No.
going to actually see if I can go in there with another,
Click on the three dots on the bottom right.
This one?
Three dot share. Click on share. Scroll up and add the
we'll
home
go back to
screen.
the blog in a minute. But they're all the same, and these are this is the Tongan community,
Right there.
and
That's
they
the home
can
screen.
see that the people are trying to put these warnings in here, and they're just trying to bypass them.
Add
Home
bookmark, add
screen?
So
favorite.
what can you do to help these people? Do I need to go do meetings, face-to-face meetings, and convince these people? But then they'll throw me out because they don't want to hear the truth.
There you go. All good?
Yes.
Well, yeah, wow.
Okay, let's see if I can get in here. What's the name?
Hello.
Yeah.
Tao share cho cô yêu lo tong live.
Hello,
Okay.
Happy.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hello, phải nói năng cả Happy. Hello,
Hola.
cái mà alo kia ai.
All right.
Happy.
Yeah.
Can you see on
So,
the
and these are
your
this is
screen
the
on the
Tongan community. Hey,
right
look,
there?
and
That's
they
the home
can
screen.
see that the people are trying to put these warnings in here.
Oh, well done.
Nó nên
And they're
khóa
just
mà
trying to
mày.
you guys are being broadcasted live. So what can you do to help these people? Do I need to go do meetings, face-to-face meetings? And, so they're sharing my feed live on the internet at the moment.
Happy. Can you see breakout room on the top left on the screen?
On my screen.
That's
on the
funny.
phone.
Well
Can you
done.
see the white box? Or white box? Top left.
I'll see if I can get another.
Top left.
That was well done. Thanks for that. That was brilliant. So what they've done, Queen of Karma's gone in there and literally used the share button and broadcasted my live into their room, and they still don't flinch.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So what's her name? I might go back and get one of these names.
Hello, có gì anh blog ini? Akah itu ah.
Ủa này lô tô.
Where is it?
Có gì lo tong live gitu.
Here we go. All right, let's see if they let me in. Been removed. So yeah, but I don't need to show you, but that's exactly what happened yesterday. So it's even batshit crazy. Honestly, it is. Look, we got to the stage where I went through we've gone through the companies that have been set up in New Zealand. We got to so I basically have written to the FMA. They basically said that they're leaving it to the Commerce Commission. And then we've got, at some point, the question needs to be asked, are regulators moving fast enough to keep up with how quickly these scans operate? Or are they relying on others to do the early work for them? Do I really need to jeopardize my safety, my welfare, and my everything to fight these scams to keep New Zealanders safe? Am I a hero or am I an idiot? You can make the choice in the comment section under this video. Most people who run the scams will be calling me an idiot, and my team of Avengers are calling me a hero. But isn't this batshit crazy? The fact that I can't even write to a financial regulator of a country and have one-on-one correspondence with them. Now, T only, the T only,
Now you're live on the internet at the moment, T only. Is that all right? You can be there if you want, but people can hear you. And are you watching my video?
It's just oh yeah, that's all right. It's a private.
Yeah, this is
You can share it with
just so you know you're public at the moment.
Hey, hi everybody. Tiani Fatukala. My Facebook is actually the data right now, but I'm still trying to be on there.
Yeah.
How is everybody? How's the BG and the SFC vibes in New Zealand? Hope all you guys are behaving yourself.
Now, this lady, I want to explain something really cool. T only had actually won a case against an individual that promoted a pyramid scheme. And because they were New Zealanders, she took them to court and won the court case. It's all over the news. We'll bring it up when I have a look at it. I was going to bring it up later on. But so if somebody has recruited you into a pyramid scheme and they are a New Zealander, you can take them to court and win. And she's living proof of that. Have I said that correctly?
Yes, it has to be a pyramid scheme. Ponzi scheme, you can't recover your money. But because everybody needs to know what's the difference between pyramid scheme and Ponzi scheme, isn't that right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna bring up your article if I can while we're talking, because it was
I won my case 2019. I was involved a group named Lelevave, and the person that did that was Malahir. These 23 groups in 2019 were all run by Tongans in the community. And I mentioned to go to the dry bureau and aim for my 18,000. It was meant to be 20,000, but 28,000, but I'm still trying to get my 10,000.
Right. Awesome, man. So you're a living proof that you can take these people to court and win.
I also have an elderly couple. It's been 3 years now. I've been trying to get their money. They went through a pyramid scheme named Tongi Tupe that was ran from America. And the admin was Officer Sao, and she was the admin here. So she's currently paying them $50, but we want more. So
yeah,
we're still fighting for it, and hopefully this elderly couple will get their 26,000 being paid back.
Is that the people that are standing in the doorway with the blue shirt on? Is that the couple you're fighting for?
Peter and his wife Selu. It was on the news.
So you fight other people's battles for them?
I fight them. Even though I've got another guy that lost 60,000 through the same group.
Yeah.
The same admin, Officer Sao, and I'm going to go for his case soon. Once I get her to pay these other people, I'm going to get his. But the Jibera only can claim 30,000. So, but that's better than nothing. And then you get your freedom, and you know.
Yeah.
It's the worst feelings when somebody steals your money.
Oh, I think it's just it's so awesome. There's people like you out there helping guide people basically who've got themselves in these trusted. Yeah. So Tione actually stood up at the SFC Vibe event that had about 300 or 400 people at it, and stood up and said asked those questions they didn't want to answer, and then got pushed out the door and everyone had to go to lunch early.
Unfortunately, the person that was running the show, the lady that was holding the mic, she was involved in one of the group as well in 2019. Her name's Lisa. Yep. She's gained a bit of weight, so I didn't recognize her then. But when I came and match up all the photos that I have from last year, she kind of, and I'm sure it's her. So she hasn't learned her damn lesson.
I've got a photo of her on the screen at the moment, the one that you sent me.
Yes.
Yeah. And what do you think the answer to stopping these, like if you had a magic wand or you had all the power, what do you think would actually, like you've given up on the FMA like me, everyone's too slow and these schemes seem to get traction too fast and no one can keep up.
Yes, that's right. Fortunately, feel very disgusted because there's mostly my Tongan people. I've been giving warning for the last 5 years. Held meetings, gone TV, radio. Nobody's listening to me. All I get is threat.
threats. Yeah. There's one there. Yep. There's a nice photo.
I've learned the hard ways. I've seen people commit suicide because of these. One of the person committed suicide because he thinks 10,000 out of these 23 groups.
Wow.
And it's sad. And I'm going to fight all the way. I'm going to fight all the way with the Commerce of New Zealand. I actually was ringing you up and today to tell you that Commerce of New Zealand have contacted me. I'll be talking to the person who's dealing with the scam. I won't say his name, but
Yep.
I'll be talking with him tomorrow.
Oh, you're awesome. I mean, I emailed you, I think about 4 or 5 months ago on a different matter. And then you rang me up a couple of 3 weeks ago and we had a good yarn. It was so nice to actually touch base with somebody who's based in New Zealand, another Avenger. Didn't know, and you're a fighter. You're a force to be reckoned with.
Campaign, John Campbell, me.
Yeah. So that one with Barbara, that's the John Campbell. There we go.
Excellent.
Let's watch it together.
Pacific correspondent Barbara Drever reported back in March. The Commerce Commission has launched investigations into a number of possible pyramid schemes targeting Pacifica and the Tongan community in particular. The victims of these schemes are lured to put significant amounts of money into what are presented as investment or gifting programs on the promise of a big payday that never comes. Now, there have been further developments to what is a really shameful story, which Barb is here to fill us in on prior to a big exclusive story on One News at 6 tonight, along with tips on how to spot a pyramid scheme and what to do if you believe you've already been taken advantage of by one of these scammers. But first, here's a clip of Tionli Fatukala, a one-woman campaign determined to convey the real human cost of these cynical, predatory scams.
Wow.
It's sad for me because I'm a Tongan.
Oh, don't make me cry.
I was proud to be Tongan.
Oh, you're awesome.
But at the moment,
wow,
I'm so ashamed that these Tongans have took advantage of us Tongans.
Oh, you poor thing.
Wow, Barbara.
Yeah,
Barbara Drever joins us in the studio.
Yeah,
it's bringing me back.
Yeah,
years ago.
Yeah, no, you're blown away. I don't think I've actually seen this clip. I watched the other the ones, but you've done a fantastic job.
The next one was the BS, BG.
Yeah,
a month ago.
So that one there, funny enough, I think I've actually got I actually put that on my YouTube channel. I think because, and I did, and that's when that must have been when I reached out to you. Yeah,
from Hawaii. She's also she's the one that said, "Tionli, look, this guy's sharing your video."
Yeah,
that's why I read it.
So you look at the so here I am sitting beside the news presenter, and then we've got this is if you may.
Tongan and New Zealand authorities are teaming up to battle a high-risk scam hitting communities in both countries. There's international warnings about Ponzi scheme BG Wealth, but its rapid spread amongst Tongans is sounding alarm bells. Pacific correspondent Barbara Drever with this exclusive report.
The lure is real. Promises of big cash, 100% returns and more, sweeping the Kingdom of Tonga.
Oh, cool. There's Barbara again.
More people are being
really
captured
great.
under this
She's really supporting me.
scam.
It's why the National Reserve Bank of Tonga has put out a warning, as well as...
People don't realise the work that we do, and you've gave me the paperwork to send a report through to the Bank of Tonga, and I've got nothing back. You've done the same. You've got some correspondence from them, but we had a promoter that was going there to do an event, and we were hoping that she was going to get arrested if she did the event. And now we've heard that she's been there and she's ran events and nothing's happened to her. It's so frustrating. It's just
she's running event in the homes, and I did get a reply back from Reserve Bank weeks ago and said that they were going to refer it to the police, but I've got videos and clips of her doing it at home and loading the Swift Wave.
And you know, the problem is they need to wait for people to be at the bottom of the cliff, lost all their money, and then they need to find money, hire a lawyer and go after these individuals, and then they'll do something about it. And that doesn't work. You can't fix this problem at the bottom of the cliff, if you may.
it's sad because I think the problem is they tend to use God to tell them, this lady Favana Brown, she was using the Bible verse. And so when people hear that, that's how I got into this, because there was a pastor and his wife that was running the pyramid scheme that I was involved with. And I was gutted.
Yeah.
A pastor and his wife can promote scam like this.
One thing I think, it's so nice to have you here and bring it up and going live, is...
Well, I was ringing for something else. I didn't know you were on
for a cup of tea. But what I'm thinking of, one of my Avengers said this morning, you guys need to go higher. And they said that rather than going to the FMA and the Commerce Commission, we need to go to the politics, and we need to put a submission in to Parliament about how ridiculous they are at fighting these scams. And I don't believe they have got. They've got no ability that would actually slow. They might as well be.
I don't have any faith. Even though the Commerce of New Zealand contacted me, I spoken to this guy 6 years ago regarding these 23 groups.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that he's contacted me. He rang me about an hour ago, and I'm happy it's still the same person that was dealing with my 20. So maybe we can dig out the 23 groups as well while we're dealing with the other that's going on. But yeah, we need action. We need more awareness. We need more meetings. We need more. Something has to be done.
Yeah.
I know Commerce of New Zealand wants people to make complaints.
No, they won't.
That was the problem I was having. I was running meetings. Nobody came up.
Yeah.
I only have about maybe 2 people with one group. Everybody's being quiet.
Yeah.
This is what happens when everybody's quiet.
Look, I can give you stats.
Why are we dealing with Validas? And why are we dealing with this new group now? That's what happens when people don't speak up.
Yeah, that's right. You did right. I've got this big scam that's 328 million, and we've had there's 2,000 people involved, and we've got 230 people that have actually filed proof of claim. So we've still got, that's only 10% of people that got scammed in this scheme where they were actually letting people put money into bank accounts and proper set up business. Only 10% of people put in a claim. And today, I think I've got a handful of 8 people that potentially might speak on camera. And still, I haven't got any money to do it.
Just have lots of money.
Well, yeah, that's one of the...
I'm sick and tired of it.
Well, yeah.
Nobody needs to go through all this.
Yep. And
it's my money. It wasn't the money. The way it was stolen from me. My hard-earned money that I went and worked for to get a house.
Yeah. Like snake oil salesmen, aren't they? They're selling something that doesn't exist.
I didn't even know these people.
Yeah.
We're even families.
I've got your news clip right here in front of me. I'm going to play it because you're on the camera at the moment.
A number of Tongans living in Auckland are cautioning their communities to avoid it.
People are just not aware that it's happening. Families are doing it quietly.
Those who speak up against it get abused.
I've got one lady in Tonga. She's been dealing with me for the last 2 weeks, swearing and cussing at me to shut up and not say anything.
Take your facts and smell it and drink it with your cup of coffee.
But there's no doubt this is a scam.
If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true, and it's most likely a scam.
Oh, it's just awful. I don't know what to do. Yeah.
That I was dealing with. I made a complaint to the cyberbullying in Tonga, so they're dealing with her right now.
Good stuff.
I will get what I deserve, because I don't think anybody should be bullied if they want to speak the truth and stand up for the rights of the victims.
Too right. And that's, it is dangerous. It is dangerous actually sticking your neck out because money's involved. And it's, those guys didn't hesitate to throw me out of the complex on Sunday. If I stood my ground, I would have got manhandled, pushed right out the door, like I was a bouncer and I was a drunk person, instead of standing up there asking questions that no one wanted to answer. And you did the same. And you're a lady,
I remember doing Validas. I was protesting at Mount Smart. I got arrested.
You're amazing.
I was doing a bit of graffiti there, but,
Yeah.
But it wasn't, I went there and they gave me $20 to take the bus home. you know. And look what happened to Validas.
Yeah, well, that's they actually even tried to take on the FMA.
When I went to that meeting on Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, they asked you to leave, but you didn't take the microphone. What was wrong with you? You should have taken the microphone.
She was holding. She wouldn't give me the microphone.
Oh, you just got to steal it before they start. That's all you got to do. Steal the microphone.
Maybe next time I'll have my own microphone and a speaker outside the door when they have their next.
That's right, a boom box. Yeah, that'd be right. You can actually stand on it. It'd be like a wee soapbox with your speaker. You could be like a street performer. Yeah.
No, it's not the money, and it needs to be stopped. I don't want my grandchildren to grow up one day and have to deal with this.
Yeah.
It needs to stop.
Yeah.
We have to stop it, and if you and me, Dan, can do it, we can do it.
Yeah, force to be reckoned with. Welcome to the Avengers. We're not going to stop. I mean, it's exhausting work, but it's also rewarding when we save one. I call them starfish. Yeah.
It's not easy to go to a meeting and say this is a Ponzi scheme and everybody's screaming at you and things like that.
I used to be in a religious cult and I used to knock on people's doors. So I think that's why I feel like it's just another day in the office, but when you're there as yourself, you and I, or me, it is quite hard to stand up, but I kind of like shined on Sunday. I actually really enjoyed it.
It's hard for me to go there and see Tongans that they're in members of their church, they're Christian people. It's all fake.
Yeah.
Christians, and I'm tired of it. God, I believe in God too, but it's got nothing to do with God. God gives us choices and options.
Yeah.
And we're the one who goes and,
I get it.
We need to, but that's okay. Not let me preach. But thank you for having me on your live.
Anytime.
We listen to it when I get home, but I'm actually going to work. You can give me a call when you finish.
Yep.
Just tell you that Thomas of New Zealand have reached us.
Brilliant. Well, you rock. You have an awesome day.
Hey, everybody. Keep fighting for freedom.
Party in the house. All right. See you, Tioni. Bye-bye. You're awesome. Wow, that was a real privilege to have her dial up to the show. That was absolutely awesome. I'm going to finish the blog that we were reading just so we can finish where we were. So I'm literally disappointed that I don't believe the FMA, or I'm not sure about the Commerce Commission after that phone call, but we'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they can do something. But at the moment, from my perspective, it looks like they are doing nothing. So the illusion of credibility, one of the most revealing parts of the investigation, built trust, new coverage from major outlets. All right, so one thing I noticed when I was investigating this company, they use major outlets like Yahoo Finance, AP News, but when you follow those links, they're all sponsored and they're not independent journalists. Now, if I was going to interview Tioni, I would interview her and I'd have my version of what she said and I'd put it into a blog. But these are all paid adverts that you might see, press releases distributed by the company itself. And I just showed you, that they had been listed in a local newspaper at the start of this year. So it's a well-known tactic that these guys do with their own PR. The same article appears across multiple platforms. The content is pretty much the same messaging, repeated without independent verification. They just make claims, and if you don't stand up or you aren't savvy enough to pick it up, you read it, you have to believe it. Once you recognize the pattern, the credibility starts to unveil. They aren't investigations. They are company-tailored narratives placed in environments that look like trusted news sources. For someone encountering this for the first time, they can be convincing, especially when the branding of those platforms is used to enforce the legitimacy. So if you see something advertised, now I did this the other day and I'm going to do it again because I just can't help myself. But if you went to theheck.com, right, and I'm saying I'm an investigative journalist, I do seem to have some clout in this industry. But when you come down here, you can actually see all the different logos of all the newspapers that I've actually been in. And if you click on those links, like the press, for example, then American businessman tries to gag Christchurch scam buster. And then you come down here and you can actually read that article, but you have to pay for it. But that's the difference. And I didn't write that article. A reporter wrote it. And it's his interpretation of what I told him when he interviewed me. Obviously, the website tells a different story. When you strip away the marketing, the platform reveals more. So I looked at their website. They had blogs. I clicked on them and they went along to sponsored adverts. The income structure is laid out clearly. Deposits unlock early tiers. Each tier promises fixed daily returns. There's no ambiguity. I can never get that right.
Ambiguity.
Ambiguity here. You pay money and you're told what you will earn in return. Now, this is, I don't know if it's relevant so much in New Zealand, but in America, that you're not allowed to have a pay to play, which means that if you can't go along and participate in the platform in some form, and you have to actually pay to get the reward, that's called pay to play. And I think, pretty sure I might be right on that. I'm just reading some of the comments in the chat room, which I've been missing after that phone call. Hopefully you can read the box behind my head if you want to get more information there. I'm just going to try doing something a bit sneaky here. 1 second, please, caller. That's better. Right, so now I've got a fatter box so you can read more. Some banks do offer open an account with them and they will give you a money reward to join to open the account. This way you can bring your money into a bank and use their services. Oh, I have never seen that. So you're saying there's banks in New Zealand that will actually give you an incentive to open an account? I haven't heard of that myself, but okay. Well, I haven't seen any proof of that, but I would be interested to know why you made that comment, to be honest. That's not recruitment. That's an incentive. Oh, that's the truth. So this company here is actually telling you to recruit people. Now, they'll put pressure on you because that's what the chat rooms are all designed to do. They don't tell you once you join the bank that you have to recruit others. That's true. So you don't go along to the bank, open up a bank account, they give you an incentive to join, and then when you're in the bank, they say, now you've opened an account, we've got some news for you, Danny. What's that? If you want your money, you'll need to recruit. Okay, they don't tell you that. So I don't think it's really pay to play. Yes, it is illegal. Excellent. Thank you very much, Queen of Karma. Now, this is what's missing, the important, and we're just talking about the website more. There's no terms and conditions on the website, no privacy policy, no legal disclaimers explaining the rights and obligations. The domain name leads directly to a login page, offering no transparency about who is running the system or how it operates. Even the contact email address listed on the website is a Gmail address, which is ridiculous. And when I sent a formal right of reply, it was returned undeliverable. And here it comes. So that's the email address. Who the hell has a Gmail account advertised on their website as the contact email address? Well, they do. And when you email it, it bounces back. So that raises immediate concerns about whether there is any functional or accountable point of contact at all. And this ain't a major oversight. This is a structural issue. So if you can't communicate with the people behind the website, and the website has now got 5 different companies that have set themselves up throughout New Zealand, and you can't ring up anybody in the company and talk to anyone, they won't answer your calls. You can't get an email address of anybody who's associated with the company. It's just ridiculous. So that's the company that you're dealing with. And you're going to sit here and say, oh, well, I feel good about it. I don't know what part of good. Right, and now we talk about the app, and I've mentioned this in the blog. I'm basically saying that when you go to the website, it tells you that you're downloading the apps from the App Store, the Google App Store, Apple App Store, and the Google Play Store, and that doesn't load. You're actually downloading what you call mobile config files or APK files. Now, do your research on those. They are not apps from the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. They are actually configuration files that could theoretically upset the operating system on your phone. Now, why do we have apps? We have them verified for safety. Now, the Google Play Store is the worst in the world. They will actually, I could probably give you links to 100, if not 1,000 wallets where you can put your crypto in that are all ran out of human trafficking compounds. I don't know why Google allows it, but Google seems to allow anybody to submit any app on their platform. However, with the Apple App Store, I have literally had an app in the App Store when I used to have my business networking company. I have to pay $150 a year. I have to meet all the criteria. I have to have it sort of like audited, and I have to have an explanation of what I'm actually doing. Now, there are certain apps and certain activities that you are not allowed to submit your apps. Now, in some cases, I have seen companies set up a whole fake company identity and then submit their app to the Apple App Store so they can get in the front door and get their app on the App Store. Now, this company hasn't done that. I'm not saying they have or they should, But what I'm saying is it's not easy to get yourself in the Apple App Store. If you're advertising on your website that you can download an app from the Apple App Store, and when you click on it, it installs a config file, you're lying to your customers. If anyone's lying to your customers, why would you do that? So you can read all about that. And you can read all about what I just explained. I basically put it in words here. And then also explain about my experience. Been doing this for 5 years. I've currently seen probably about 5 or 6 different apps actually get into the Apple App Stores, to my disbelief. And literally companies will set up a completely different identity altogether, as I said. It's just unreal. So those files could harm your phone. And why would a company that's legitimate do that type of activity? A company that presents itself as a global professional platform isn't a minor detail. It's a fundamental break from normal transparency and accountable practices. Why people believe it, despite everything that that's already out there, the warning, the complaints, the structural red flags, people are still joining, and that's worth understanding, because this is where these systems are most effective. In the early stages, the platform works just enough to build belief, because this is all about people believing. People say to me, I believe it, I like it, I want a passive income. But they're not selling a passive income because you're paying them. Okay, they still withdrawals may go through. So people go, I get money out of it. You don't know what you're talking. They judge it. They don't understand that you've paid $1,200, you idiot, and now you're getting $40 a day back of your own money. That means you've got about 30 days before the platform falls over. And that's why we believe it's going to fall over any day now, unless you keep recruiting. If you stop recruiting, the whole platform falls over, and they'll go remarket this in a different country. And they might even rebrand it. Who knows? Early participants may see returns. The dashboard, you're looking at a phone, and the phone is telling you that you have money in it. Withdraw your money. See how you get on. How does that process work? If you do get your money out, are you getting your money out, or have you recruited other people? Are you taking some of their money to keep the illusion alive? The dashboard shows growing balances, early daily earnings, and structured progress, all designed to reinforce the idea that something legitimate is happening. From the inside, it doesn't feel like a scam. It feels like a system that's working. That belief is then amplified through social proof. That's why they want you to be part of those communities. Friends invite family members to, family members bring in each other into WhatsApp, Telegram groups, create a consistent stream of screenshots, success stories, encouragement. Once that network effect kicks in, doubt gets replaced with reassurance, not from the company, but from people you already trust. So the trust of the company is coming from associations with people in the social groups. But underneath, the structure doesn't change. The returns are not tied to anything verifiable activity. They depend on new money entering the system. And when that's the case, the outcome is mathematically constrained. Constrained. It doesn't matter how convincing it looks, how many people believe it. Not everyone can win. At the same point, the balance shifts. More people try to withdraw that deposit. The system tightens, the conditions change, and the same mechanism that created belief at the start becomes the reason why people left holding the loss at the end. Right. I mean, so what I did, what I'm getting at is, if these ads are real that you're clicking on, then verify who created the ads, who's paying for the ads, and how does the money work? Follow the money. Understand the ads. Who are you telling me that Walt Disney, Universal Studios, and Sony and Coca-Cola have all got together as one organization and said we need to set up a shady company so we can rate our adverts? Does that matter that I've said it? Does that not make any sense to you whatsoever? Do you really think those 4 massive companies have got together and found one identity who wants to have the same type of adverts rated 5 times a day? Are you kidding me? Are all those companies really got these? Where are these 10-second adverts that you're rating being used? Have you ever seen any of those adverts working on any other platform? Just put it out there. It's not in the blog. So what I did is when I went along to the event, I had all these questions that I wanted to ask after I put together my blog and I went through all the media stuff. And you can go through these questions. Can you confirm whether the law, can you confirm whether any law enforcement agency had ever contacted or had been investigating this business? So that's what I was going to ask them. I wanted to know whether they knew they were being investigated by the Commerce Commission and whether, has the Commerce Commission reviewed or taken any interest in your model? How do you respond to the claims that the structure represents a pyramid scheme? What evidence exists to support claims partnership with major studios like Disney, Universal, or Sony, and Coca-Cola? Where does the money actually come from that pays the users who are rating these movies? Who are the paying clients? And can any of them be independently verified? Who's paying for these adverts? If new deposits stop today, would existing users continue to be paid? What proportion of payouts come from external revenue versus members' deposits? Who is using the movie rating data being generated? Can a single real-world example be provided of a company paying for the data? Why would an established studio outsource its work to unknown participants instead of using proven platforms that already have this built into them? Do users earn money from completing tasks or from recruiting new people? If someone chooses to not recruit, can they realistically earn the same income long term? How is this different from a system where income depends on new participants joining? Are there conditions that can delay or restrict withdrawals? Why are users reporting that they must upgrade or complete more tasks before accessing their funds? What is the longest verified withdrawal timeframe for a New Zealander? Why are multiple companies set up across New Zealand under different directors? Who is the ultimate parent entity behind the companies? Who is legally responsible for users' funds in New Zealand? Is the business registered? Now think about that one there. That's a real big one there. Who is legally responsible for users' funds in New Zealand? Where is your money going when you pay to join? Where did that money go? Does it go to the company director of one of the 5 companies in New Zealand? Why are they handling the money for SFCVIBE? Why is that the case? And why is they 100% director? Is the business registered with any financial regulators in New Zealand? As far as I'm concerned, you're providing a financial product and it's a security. So who is your financial regulator in New Zealand? How do you respond to the ongoing Commerce Commission investigation? Why has there been no public support or statement from the Financial Markets Authority? Why does the website suggest downloading from official app stores while directing users to install files instead? Is the app actually listed on the Apple App Store or Google Play? If so, show us where. Why are users being asked to install these config files outside official platforms? That's what they're there for, to protect your phone, protect your data, protect your privacy. Can written proof be provided by any claimed partnerships with global brands? Do any of these companies publicly acknowledge working with the platform? Why is there no independently verifiable confirmation of these relationships? Why does the official contact email return undeliverable? What is the correct working corporate contact for the email? How do I contact the company? And why can I not contact any of the directors who have set up their 5 companies in New Zealand and get somebody to talk to me on the phone? Are you listening to me? Tongan people, wake up. These are not unreasonable questions. These were the questions I prepared to answer on the day that I got kicked out of the event for. Don't kick me out of an event. Answer my question consistently, clearly, consistently, and with verifiable evidence. Then the issue isn't the question, it's the answer. So pattern is the warning. I've seen this model before. It's exactly the same all the time. The platform launches with a compelling story. It offers, and they're helping people. So they think I'm having a go at people because people are finding it hard financially at the moment. Finding a work is really, really difficult. And we're providing a vehicle for people to do so. No, you're not. You're telling them to pay $1,200 so they can get $40 back a day of their own money. And if they don't recruit and lose their friends and family, then it's not working. That is not a compelling story about helping people with jobs. It offers a simple task that looks harmless on the surface. Rate a movie, click a button, complete the review. That task becomes the cover story for payouts. Then the real structure starts to unveil. Deposits, unlocking access, tiers tied to spending, and recruitment incentives to keep the fresh money flowing in. It scales quickly, often across multiple countries, and represents that speed of proof. I'm getting a bit tongue-tied here. What flows? I'm just going to read a paragraph. Have a break for a
What
bit.
follows is usually just as predictable. In the early phase, the system appears to work. People receive small payouts. Screens show growing balances, and promoters flood social channels with confidence-building noise. But once withdrawals begin to outpace deposits, the tone changes. Accounts are reviewed. Conditions are added. Support becomes harder to reach. Users are told to upgrade, wait, verify, or recruit. The language changes, but the direction is always the same. Friction on the way out.
Yeah, exactly the same.
SFCVIBE fits the pattern with uncomfortable precision. The structure is there. The rewards model is there. The pressure to recruit is there. The credibility theatre is there. The warnings are already there. So are the reports of blocked withdrawals, the shaky app distribution, the missing legal pages, the broken contact channel, and the rapidly assembled network of local companies fronted by regional directors.
So that doesn't mean the financial outcome has already been written. The investigations are ongoing. The regulators will make their own findings, but when a platform shows this many overlapping red flags across the structure, behavior, technology, and design, the pattern itself becomes part of the evidence. And in this case, like this, the pattern is often the warning people ignore until it's too late. That's why this needs to be questioned now, carefully, critically, and publicly before more people find themselves on the wrong side of the system that was never built to protect them. Look, that's the blog written. And, as I said earlier on, I still want to find out the people who are behind it. They may come across innocent. They may come back to you saying they are victims. They didn't realize what they're doing. We are opening to discussion with people. But I can tell you now, the 3 people that have set up companies in New Zealand don't want to talk to me. They don't want to answer their phones, and they are hiding. The company behind this, we've already got the Commerce Commission investigating. We've got Chinese characters on new website. We've got a website that is basically telling people that they can download apps from the App Store, and they're lying to people in plain sight. This is not get it on Google Play. Download on the Apple Store. Leads to config files. It's going to endanger you. Email addresses on their website that don't work. They bounce back. These people have got a history of promoting Ponzi schemes and scams. This lady is promoting this Ponzi scheme. We can't stop people from doing what they want to do. But because they haven't been stopped doesn't mean they're not promoting a scam. Now, I had a good look at this 2020 filing for SFCVIBE rating. And I went through and I used ChatGPT and I asked it to basically scrutinize what that actually meant. Currently, it's in good standing, which means they've kept all their filings up to date. It does not mean it is legitimate. I asked it to look at the address where they're located. I asked it to look at the individual where that name was. If you're going to give that to us as proof that they're registered as a company, they haven't done anything wrong. They've filed all the necessary paperwork, whether they're selling hairpins, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, or adverts is irrelevant. It just means so the address that they've claimed that their office is in is a very commonly commercial building, which means it's probably coming from registered offices like Regis, which is shared office space, virtual offices, or even could be a mail forwarding company. It means shit, basically. The registered agent, someone who receives legal documents on behalf of the company, often not the owner or the operator. So that name there, we don't know who the hell it is, but she's just a registered agent. Good standing can be a misconception. They pay fees, files, does not mean the business is active, does not mean it's legitimate, it does not mean it's regulated. And if you want to, you can verify this business yourself by going to that address, take a screenshot of it if you like. You look up the ID number. There it is again. So we should be looking at things. So we took that down to here, and we went down to here and we looked at filings. So now you can go and look at the filings. How about that? That's funny. Let's go back here and let's see if we can go refresh. Hopefully that will still have the same data. And it's probably not going to happen now. Let's have a look. Let's go here. See if it lists. There we go. So you can actually see date file. So the last filings for this company, statement of correction. And this was, this could be interesting. Statement of correction. This is where Kuinakama needs to go in here and actually have a look. Because I wouldn't mind betting they've bought an old company and renamed it. Statement of correction. So I think what I just said is actually the truth. Entity name. So incorrectly. Such entity corrected it. So are you telling me that they've renamed the company? Is that what we're looking at here? Statement of correction, file and entity. This is what I think it looks like. So this company could have actually been renamed. So this company could have been called this, right? Oh my goodness. Oh, so there you go. So that's what it looks like. So if I go back here, this is so in 2025, so on the 16th of the 7th month, this company that used to be called another name has been renamed. Oh my goodness. You've got to click on that, Kuinakama. Is that, that's what I'm seeing, correction of entity name. Oh my goodness. So that's just ridiculous. That's what I'm looking at here. So this company here, if you look at this file in here, which I'll give you the link. Is that what I'm seeing? Susie found this. Oh my God. So I found it too all by myself. So this is the company that's claiming they've been registered since 2020, that's doing all the filing and all the green ticks. And you come down here. So they've probably purchased an old company entity and then renamed it to SFCVIBE rating, months ago. Oh my goodness, that is just ridiculous. I mean, I can't make that shit up. And that's pretty much what I've said. So, hey, look, something interesting happened just before I went live. But there was an advertised meeting, which I was hoping would have gone live while I was going live, but it didn't. And we can see this being advertised by Susie Hunter, which I think by Susie Hunter. And it looks like somebody's trying to kick me out of here. 1 minute, please, caller. Let's see if I can get myself back. So this lady, Michelle, we have found out actually lives in Christchurch. And it looks like this is the lady's, I could be wrong, so excuse me, Michelle, this lady. But this lady here is a Māori, and we've found that she seems to be promoting. This is the lady here. And this is the kicker of what I wanted to actually do today. And we're going to watch how this has been promoted to people. And this might break off to a different video. But what I want to do is I just want to basically close this meeting down just so I can actually splice this off onto a new meeting. So if you've been watching and you've been trying to figure out whether this company is true and genuine, my take is run as fast as you can in the opposite direction. Do not recruit anybody into a financial opportunity if you're not a regulated financial advisor. This is a pay to pay. You're going to go running?
Yeah, what about, shall I take him?
Are
you running?
No.
So how about you walk him, I'll take him.
If I get there.
If.
When I get there. Okay, all right. All right, just organise my social life, guys. So we'll just leave it here, and I'll break this off into a new video.